I met a gypsy.
But it was so cool. Like, I was spending so much time at the test track as well, Yamaha Test Track. So I was there with Barcia, Plessinger, and all the star guys. And that was just really, really cool. Like, the intensity that they're like training with through the week is just on another level. And you think when you go to that test track, you're like Barcia, Plessinger, Ferandis, like all those guys are there, and they want to be the big dog every single day. So the intensity is just next level. And you can see why these training facilities and stuff like that now is just why they're you've got to have a riding partner right now. Like Eli Tomac is like the only guy that sort of does it on his own, but even Jeremy Martin goes and rides with him, you know? So like he's not doing it on his own all the time now, but these training facilities are just killing it because the intensity day after day is just unreal. So it was an eye-opener being over there for sure. I think this year, even coming back to Australia, just racing the Queensland stuff, like I felt so confident in my intensity. Like my first 3 laps were just, I knew I was on. Like if I could get a start, I checked out pretty quick. And that just purely come down to the intensity and what I learned over there. Like they just put everything on the line. Yeah. And it was just, it sort of opened my eyes to what you can actually do on a motorbike. You know, like you sort of go a little bit stale when you're racing just guys here in Australia, because that's the benchmark. That's what I need to catch, you know, like that's where, and it's not that far. And then when I went to America, I was like, well, the benchmark's here in Australia, it can't be that big, you know. But then I went to the test track and I was like, man, these guys are on rails hitting these turns. Like I just could not believe some of the corner speed that these guys, like Justin Cooper, man, his corner speed, like it's at the test track was just unbelievable. Like it was unreal. And
like, what are you putting it down to? Like when you go home from a session like that and you're trying to figure out how you can actually make that happen, what are you putting it down to and what are you thinking about?
I mean, it was just commitment. Like that was the thing. Like I just was, they're so used to just pushing every day, and their level has got so high now where when like my level here in Australia is like we're at the top in Australia. So like the guys I'm looking to are like, I feel like I'm on that level. So like we're just pushing each other like little bits, you know. But when I went to America, then it was like, man, this level is like a big chunk that I've got to catch. And I could do that. Like by the end, I could do that for 3, 4, 5 laps. Like I could run Barcia's pace for, like there was days at the test track when I was 0.2 of a second quicker than him in the first 3 laps. But he just stayed that the whole time.
Yeah, and that's not like a stress for him.
No, and like, yeah, it was unreal. My speed was like really good for those first few laps, and like I was like building confidence off that. But I just couldn't maintain that because it was so new to me, and the intensity just got brought up. You know?
Does that feel just like insanely mentally draining?
Like, and just eye speed, everything. There's so much like the focus of like being in that moment, you know, and like every mark just working was like intense. Like it's just always in your face. Like it was hard to get a breath, you know. Like you'd go home and you were just so mentally exhausted because you were just like, everything's coming at me so fast. Yeah. And like you're dealing with the pressure of like I wanted to do well. I'm in America, you know, like I wanted to, and that's no, like I'm not trying to hide that or anything. Like I was over there to try put my name into the industry over there. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to go, but like I was just so, like it was more beneficial for me to just be there and learn. Like I learned so much from just being there, riding the test track day in, day out with those guys. Like just the intensity, it was so gnarly, but like opened my eyes what was possible on a motorcycle. So like it was so cool in that way, and that's where I'm like, anything's like, it's possible, you know, like to go that speed, but it's just time now, you know. Like you've just got to put the time in.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.